Hi, it's Brian here, and welcome on to today's show. And I'm joined by Rob again. Welcome, Rob.
Thank you very much. Good to be back.
Now, we are going to be talking about auditions.
Oh, God.
They are enough to strike the fear of God into many an actor. But let's face it, Rob, we all need them, right? So the thing is, how do we deal with them, and what are the issues with auditions? So let me start off, Rob, by saying that there's been studies done, there's been medical research done about actors on first nights and auditions. And basically they've hooked actors up to all this medical equipment to test what the stress levels are like and how actors react in these situations. And what they discovered, you won't believe this, but what they discovered was that actors go through a similar stress level to that of being in a car crash.
Get out of town.
To that of being in a car crash. So could you imagine like being in a car crash, stepping out of the car, somebody handing you a script and saying, off you go, let's see your best performance of that script.
Yeah, I relate to that totally, actually. I
mean, they're stressful, right? So how can we make it easier for ourselves in auditions? What do we need to think about in relation to auditions to make sure that we bring down the stress levels somewhat?
Because, well, there's the obvious answers. Preparation.
Well, call me old-fashioned. I think that is pretty important, preparation. Now, let me tell you, I've got a story about this.
Okay.
Because everybody out there is probably saying, well, of course, every actor goes into an audition prepared.
They don't,
and
they bloody don't.
They don't. This is the shocking thing, they don't. In fact, when I was in LA recently, there was a very high-up casting director, in fact, two of them, said this was their biggest bugbear, was the fact that there's many actors that walk into auditions that are not fully prepared. And what they meant by not fully prepared was either hadn't read the whole script, or hadn't learned or prepared the lines properly, hadn't really thought about it, and came in, haphazard, basically.
Well, it's very important to read the entire script, and I'll tell you for why. Because it's not only about your lines and what you say, but if you read the entire script, one of the other characters might say something about you.
Indeed. That
you haven't read if you haven't read the whole script.
Yeah. And they can often get interesting insight into your character if you look at what all the other characters say about you, because obviously, as in real life, we don't always go around talking about ourselves, Rob. Not even actors do that.
No, we don't.
No. And so we can gain interesting insight into what other people say about us. And in a script, that's deliberately put in there so we can understand that. Anyway, I think that's a really good point. But I want to kind of roll it back slightly to there is preparation, you're right, before we even get to the audition room that must be carried out.
Of course.
But when we actually get to the point of turning up for an audition, here's one of the number one rules that I think you have to think about, which is, I know it sounds really boring, doesn't really sound like a cool subject, but being on time is really important.
It's an absolute bugbear of mine, punctuality. Yeah, being on time. I mean, in life, I'm always very, very punctual. I mean, it's better to be an hour early or get into the area that the audition is being held, to be there an hour early than 2 minutes late.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think there's several, it's not just for the benefit of the people that you're auditioning for, but also for your benefit, because if you turn up an hour early, you can go for a coffee, relax, go over the script, prepare. You're not turning up at the audition room going, oh my God, I've just been, the public transport's been a nightmare.
Didn't think I'd make it, then that's adding to your stress, isn't it?
Indeed.
It just,
Yeah. And
so punctuality, and one good reason for punctuality, especially at screen auditions, is that they're seeing, get used to it, they're seeing more than just you for the audition. And so everyone has a slotted time, and it's very, very important, and they're running to schedule. Very often at commercial auditions, they'll run behind schedule, but they run to schedule. And so if you're late, you've missed your slot, mate. That's it. And then they're on to the next person, and you probably won't be seen.
Yeah, and there's some casting directors that even if you're 1 minute late, will blackball you, basically. They'll just, you're not getting in to see them the next time. So actually punctuality within the acting industry is really key. Here's something else, Rob, I think. It seems like a basic, but again, I think really important. When you're going into the audition room, bringing in, I've seen people come into audition rooms bringing in practically everything but the kitchen sink. They've got 2 jackets, they've got bottles of water.
Case and
they've got a little coffee on the go, and they've got their umbrella, and they've got they've got 2 bags. And,
I know,
and they bring all of that into, and it takes like half an hour for it to all come off and get in the chair, ready to go. And then when they're finished, it takes half an hour to leave because they've got to pick everything up again and get everything and take it out of the room. So I think that when you go in, that you walk into the room with just everything you need for the audition and no more, and go and do it, and then you can leave clean. So that you don't have that awkward moment, that awkward silence at the end, or indeed at the beginning of the interview.
And I think an important, I don't know whether it's that important, but I think it is beneficial. You're talking about leaving clean. At the end of the audition, get out the room. Don't stick around and want to shake hands with everybody and want to make friends with everybody. Oh, thank you very much, and you've got to shake hands with everybody. Forget all that. Just go, thank you very much, and leave.
Yeah.
Get out.
Because you have to remember, I mean, I know it's your audition and it's really important to you, but you have to remember that they're meeting a lot of people that day, and they're all coming in to do the same scene, and they want somebody to come in really professional, really come in and do the job, and that is it. You just leave, because after that the choice has to be made, and really, you're trying to become best mates with them after you've done your audition probably isn't going to do you any good.
And don't try and be best mates with them before you've done the audition either. Yeah. So the same rule applies when you go
And a really good reason for that, Rob, to point at you there. But
what?
Well, no.
What?
A really good reason for that is neediness. Because I think that if an actor goes into an audition and is really needy, not you.
What are you pointing at me for when you say neediness? I do need.
I kind of metaphorically point at you. I didn't mean you at all.
I know.
God, I think if anybody's earned their stripes in this industry, it's you, Rob. I don't think you need to worry about any of that. But neediness is a big turn-off. And I think that it reduces people's charisma, which, at the end of the day, an acting process, I think, is important. And also, they pick it up, so a panel will pick up if you're really needy and you really want them and need them, which is a real turn-off. So I think you've got to go in wanting it but not needing it.
You took the words out of my mouth. Want it but not need it. That's right.
Great minds think alike, Rob.
I know. And the other thing is, it is often said, look, if you're going for an audition, go dressed for the part. Yes, to a certain extent. But I mean, if you're going for an audition, say, for Pirates of the Caribbean, which I hope you all will be. I haven't yet. But I will. But don't go in full fancy dress as a pirate. That would be annoying. Don't do that. But you could go perhaps with sort of a bit of a flouncy shirt on, or maybe...
Yeah, a flavour, an indication.
Just a flavour, an indication of pirate. But there's no need to go actually dressed as a pirate, because that I would find that annoying if I was auditioning people.
It'd just be too much. And in some ways, I've even heard a casting director say that if somebody goes that far, it also comes across as needy.
Exactly.
So just an indication, a hint, is quite a good thing to do, I think.
Yeah. Can I just say a quick word about in the audition waiting room before you go in?
Absolutely, please do.
I think you might know what I'm about to say.
Go on.
Look, when you go into the audition reception area and you're in the waiting room and you're waiting for your name to be called to go into the audition, and you see a friend there, an acting friend that you haven't seen for a long time, forget about all the catching up. Forget about, hello, haven't seen you for so long, how are you? What have you been working on? Blah, 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 blah. All the other people sitting in the audition room, waiting room, they don't want to hear that. They're sitting there, they're trying to concentrate on their role, they're trying to concentrate on what they're going to do when they get in there, they're trying to relax. And all of that is not good for other people's relaxation to hear all that stuff going on. So just sit down, be quiet, and concentrate on what you're doing. Yeah,
I've even heard that, there's even been some actors that have deliberately done this to try and throw somebody off their game, because at the end of the day, it is a competitive situation. But, I don't think that happens all the time, but it has happened. I've heard it happen. So, best just to keep in yourself to yourself, focus on what you've got to do. Don't worry about anybody else. And also the casting director's assistant and the people that are, welcoming the actors into the audition waiting room, they're watching the actors, and sometimes there's conversations that happen between assistants, casting directors, and so on, saying, oh yeah, this person was mucking about before they went into the audition, or they can pick up what you're about basically before you even get into the room. So you need to be a little bit careful about that.
I must just tell you one story actually. I hope we've got time. This is worth thinking about as well. Your audition starts before you even get into the building where you're auditioning from. And let me tell you how that happens. Let me tell you how that works, and a bit of a horror story once. Yeah. Okay. So this isn't from personal experience. I heard this story secondhand. An actor was going for an audition. So he had his script and he arrived a little bit early. That's all very good. Good luck, good brownie points for that, for him arriving early. And he went and sat in the cafe opposite and he was reading through his script. And a guy sat next to him and said, oh, you an actor? He said, yeah, I'm an actor. He said, I'm going for an audition in a moment. And the guy said, oh, right, okay. And the actor that was going for the audition said, the script's terrible. Awful script, bloody awful script. I don't know what I can do with this, but anyway, there you go. So the cup of tea finished and the actor went into the audition room, and sitting in the audition room was the writer, who was the same guy that sat next to him.
Oh dear, yeah.
In the cafe, and he didn't get the role. So
surprisingly.
So don't yeah. So,
don't badmouth people.
So don't badmouth people. That's it. That's exactly what I'm saying. Don't badmouth people either in the audition waiting room or outside, because you never know who you're talking to.
That's absolutely true. Yeah. Well, I think that covers off some important points to think about when it comes to audition.
We didn't say relaxation.
No.
Which is the important thing.
Actually, being relaxed takes you more than 50% of the way there, because most people are walking into auditions very in a state of distress, various levels of. So just being able to relax and function and do your work.
Just relax and center yourself. Go inside. Be still inside. Just relax and go there and don't beat yourself up. Be gentle with yourself. There's no need to beat yourself up about what might happen in the audition room.
Oh yeah, and another thing, after the audition, just forget about it. Just forget about it. Once it's done, it's done. And you the reasons for you getting a job or not getting a job.
Oh, they could be anything.
It could be nothing to do with how you read or what you did in the audition room. So once it's done, it's done. Go and do something else and forget about it.
And how many times have we been for auditions and thought, oh Jesus, that was terrible. I embarrassed myself.
And you get it.
There. And you get the job.
Yeah. You think that was the worst audition I've ever done? And it was like,
and you get it.
You get it. Yeah.
So don't too self-judgmental when you've done the audition. Go away, like Bryce says. Do something else. Do something that you like to do. Go and have a cup of tea or a walk in the park or whatever, and forget it.
Yeah.
Until the next.
Or maybe watch this show. That could be something. Just unwind, have a mug of tea, watch us talking about acting.
Absolutely.
Okay. Well, I think that brings it to a close on this show, and I look forward to speaking to you on the next one. Cheers.
Bye bye.